So at this time, I was really into the whole I want to look into ghost hunting. Then I look up and I can just like see the outline of somebody in like one of the windows. My wife, she grabs me by the thigh, pulls into my ear, and whispers, "You'll never get her back."
And I wasn't even talking shit. I was just like, I don't know, maybe he can't do anything. Who knows? Maybe this stuff really is real. And he's just like, yeah, let me prove you.
It was about 10 years ago, a little more than that, because I had just gotten together with, she is my wife now. We were engaged at the time, but got together with a group of friends. It was me, her best friend, her best friend's husband, another of her friends, and that friend's boyfriend. So at this time, I was really into the whole I want to look into ghost hunting and shit like that, right? So we're here in Ohio, and we go to this place. It's called the Ridges, and there's like this abandoned mental asylum there, and we've always heard like all these different stories about ghost sightings and all this and that. So we go to check it out, and while we're there, one of the group like jumps the gate that's blocked off to keep people out. They like jump the gate. I'm hanging around on the front because I'm not trying to get arrested or nothing. Then I look up and I can just like see the outline of somebody in like one of the windows. Keep in mind, this place is like abandoned, like full on abandoned. Nobody's there. But I chalk it up, well, maybe it's a security guard or something like that, for whatever reason. We should probably get out of here. So we decide, yeah, we should just bounce. So we get in the van and we start driving. And I'm sitting in the back with my wife, fiance at the time again. And then a couple of the friends start talking about, hey, so we saw this thing while we were over the gate, and not trying to freak y'all out or anything, but it's following us right now. I'm like, what the fuck? I look back out the window. I can't see anything myself, but they're like, yeah, it's following us. It's with us. So I'm, not freaking out, like, ooh, this is creepy, this is weird, cool, or whatever. But then, like, they start describing what they saw back there, and I guess it was this guy. He was like he was in all white, but he had like red eyes, like full on demon shit. And so, it's starting to freak me out a little bit now. But then, like, I look over to my wife, and she's just like out. I'm thinking like she's asleep or something like that, and I can't get her to wake up, and she's just acting really off. My wife, she grabs me by the thigh, pulls into my ear, and whispers, "You'll never get her back." And so at this moment, I'm fully freaked the fuck out because I was not expecting this shit tonight. Like, I was expecting to see some like apparitions or some shit like that, but like, we've got a full on possession here. So we're flipping out, and then like one of the other girls in the van, she starts acting weird, and my wife just like kind of passes out. So I don't know, it like hopped from one to the other or something. We get home, and like all night long, I can't sleep because I'm freaking the fuck out, and my wife's just like in bed having like the weirdest fucking dreams and shit. I don't sleep at all that night. Like, I'm fully alert. I'm fully waiting for some shit to go down. And you can just feel the negativity in the room. Like, you can just feel the presence there. On a side note, at the place we lived in at the time, which is actually right next door to where we live right now. Her sister lives in the house now. We live next door now. But anyways, so we had what we called the window ghost. Um, ever since we moved in there, it would just be this ghost, just this apparition would just walk past the kitchen window, and we like knew it wasn't like a person or like a neighbor or anything because this window was like really high off the ground, like nobody was walking past that. I mean, it never bothered us or anything. It was just chilling, just walk past the window every once in a while or whatever. And she always thought like maybe it was like a relative or something like that, or somebody just watching out for us or whatever. Well, as the night goes on, everything just like stops. The whole vibe just dies. Like it's just over. Like you just know it's over. My wife wakes up in the morning and she's talking about how she had this weird ass dream about this dude in white. We don't know what happened. She doesn't believe it, by the way. She like to this day, like 10 plus years later, denies knowing what I'm talking about, denies like fucking with me or anything like that. I thought maybe she was just like fucking with me, or just having a laugh. But like after 10 years or so, you would think like at some point she'd come out and be like, hey, yeah, but no, like to this day, she like full on like, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, she jokes about it, because people would talk about, be like, hey, you want to go hang out at the Ridges again? And we're like, fuck no. um, so yeah, so
We moved from Michigan to Missouri, my ex and I. We moved to Missouri in order to move in with her biological dad. We were staying with her ex father in law. We currently moved into Missouri. We had almost nothing. We had a bed that was set up for us. That was roughly about it. Well, the dad decided to go out and buy, some kind of antique. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. I don't know why he did it. But he came back with an antique Chester drawer. So we were like, perfect. I have a desk in here. I no longer need to have the TV like right behind me. She can have the TV up there. She can watch stuff. She can play Xbox, and we can just sit there and chat next to the bed. The first thing I noticed was the fact that there was a person standing outside my back door. I could see him through the window. I looked out, saw a purple shirt, yellow shorts, and I was like, what the fuck? Why is this person in the backyard, and why did I not hear him come into the backyard? If you didn't know, for most of you guys, our backyard was fenced off with a chain link fence that was extremely loud because of how broken and rusty it was. So if anybody even touches it, you can pretty much hear it from wherever the fuck you are in the house. I heard nothing. Nobody go in, nobody come out, nobody jump over the fence, nobody walk through the fence. It was weird because I was right there. I go and take a look outside, and without hearing this man ever leave, I notice there is nobody in my backyard. And mind you, the backyard is up a hill. So if he wanted to run away from the house, it would be very difficult because he had to run up the hill that was covered in a lot of dog shit, and it was very slippery. I didn't really notice too much until one night, my ex had one of her friends over. It was my ex's birthday, and she wanted her friend to come over so we were pretty much a block away from Worlds of Fun, if you know what that is. It's an amusement park in Missouri. We were just a block away from it, and we decided that for her birthday we were going to go to Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun in order to celebrate. Well, we came home. We went to our separate rooms to start our nightly getting ready for bed and me staying up for the next 24 hours. And then her friend came in and told us that she smelt fire. So we ran into the kitchen and saw that the stove was on, and there was a pot of water boiling on the stove, and it was getting ready to boil over and start causing the fire to like spread. None of us ever left our rooms other than when she realized that the house started to smell like fire and smoke, mostly smoke, but fire. After that, again, nothing really serious happened until one day I was walking behind my ex to go into the kitchen to start making food. I saw her ponytail lift up into the air and get yanked back down to the point to where she fell, like she got yanked down to the ground. From there, it went on to pots and pans being thrown with nobody being able to find any pots or pans being moved. It sounded like basically one night I was doing stuff on the computer. I think I was editing. I don't remember. I was doing something for YouTube, and she started to slap me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? She's like, someone is in the kitchen. I grabbed the nearest bat, ran out there, saw nobody, saw nothing wrong. No idea what the fuck she was talking about. She said, I swear to God, it sounded like someone was just throwing our pots and pans on the ground. The next night, we decided to start doing some Harry Potter shit. She was a pretty big fan. I was kind of meh. I enjoyed this series, but I didn't really give too much of a shit, but it was a good show. I liked it. I liked the movies. I liked the books. The books were amazing. But we were doing stuff, and I started to hear pots and pans being thrown. And like to the point where like I looked up, looked at her, and grabbed the bat immediately and just took off for the kitchen. I found no signs of anything ever being touched. I was like, this is the weirdest shit. I believe you now about last night, but I don't know what the fuck is going on. So after that, bruises started to appear on her. Black eyes, scratches, busted lips. And finally, the night happened where I woke up in the middle of the night. I was tired, but I felt awake enough to, for some reason, feel somebody watching me. I turned around, looked at the dresser drawer, and I saw someone's, torso sticking out from the closet, blocking the Chester drawer. And I just kind of looked at it and I was like, oh, it's probably just my imagination or something. Because back then I didn't know I had schizophrenia, but I always knew I experienced schizophrenic things. I thought it was just an overactive imagination because that's what my mom always told me. So I was just like, whatever, my imagination, let's go back to sleep. My ex didn't feel that way. My ex stared the thing down all night. And by the time morning came, it was no longer there. She said it never left, it never escaped, it never went anywhere. It just wasn't there anymore. And after that, actually the next morning, I woke up and I looked at her and I was like, hey, did you see that thing last night? For no reason. I wasn't thinking about it, nothing. It just popped out of my mouth. And she was like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one who saw it. I was like, yeah, no, I saw it too. I just didn't care about it. After that, more shit started happening. More black eyes, more scratches, all to her. She started to ask, why is it only doing this to me? Why is none of this happening to you? Why am I the only thing being affected by it? And at the time, I had a cross that was given to me by my brother, and I was no longer near my brother, so I kept it around me just for, good luck's sake. And I have a tattoo with the Triforce and a cross behind it. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's all the crosses that I have on me at most of the time. Maybe it can't do anything. The next morning I wake up with a black eye, and my cross necklace, the cross was ripped off and thrown on the ground, and I had 3 scratches going down my cross tattoo. And I wasn't even talking shit. I was just like, I don't know, maybe he can't do anything. Who knows? Maybe this stuff really is real. And he's just like, yeah, let me prove you.